Well, hello and good evening. How are we for all the technical things? We good? Okay, awesome. Well, welcome to the City of Travelers Rest Council meeting for Thursday, October 17th. Appreciate everybody being here on this fall night. We are going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'll please stand.
The flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and I will ask, let's see, do I have a volunteer since
I'll
Grant's
do it.
not here? Thank you, Wayne.
I just thought
Please
about
pray
that.
for council. Thank you.
I will. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, Lord, and we thank you for all the ways that you bless us and the ways that you bless our town. Lord, we just ask that you provide for us as you have. Lord, just thank you for being so good to us through all of your works here that we don't understand, but Lord, just thank you for all of our people that have been in harm's way in dealing with this. And as always, just continue to bless us, bless our families, and bless all of our people in town. All these things we ask in your name. Amen.
Amen.
All right, we have approval of our minutes from previous meeting. We have our regular council meeting from September the 19th. Do I have a motion to approve those meetings?
Motion to approve.
A motion from Shanice, a second.
Second.
Second from Catherine. Do we have any discussion or edits? All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. Now we have our minutes from our special council meeting on October the 7th. Do we have a motion for approval for those minutes?
Motion.
Motion from
Second.
Kelly, second from Shanice. Any edits or questions? All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. Citizen participation, we have none for tonight. We have ordinances and resolutions for second reading. We have none. So we will jump into our committee reports. So we have our Public Works Committee, Chair Lane.
The Public Works Committee met October 7th and approved the September 9th minutes. 5 trees on Main Street along with a light at Trailblazer Park were damaged during the storm. Schneider Trees will continue to assess any damage, and all damage will be reported to FEMA for reimbursement. Public Works has been working with the Garden Club to install fall decor on Main Street, which includes banners for the Hincapie race this weekend. And there is a glass recycling event scheduled for October 19th and a medication take back and shred event on October 26th in the parking lot at Trailblazer Park.
Yeah. All right, report from our Public Safety Committee, Chair Byers.
The Public Safety Committee met on October 7th and approved the September 9th minutes. The committee reviewed the following from the September Public Safety reports. For police, Chief Ford noted that Reserve Officer and Chaplain Alan McWhite checked on police departments in North Carolina. Captain Kobler took supplies like MREs and water. Many officers are eager to assist in the recovery. Motor vehicle collisions are up for the year, but down for the month of September. And for fire, shifts were upstaffed and there wasn't any equipment failure during the storm. The department was a food drop-off point for MREs and water for the community. The Firehouse Dogs food truck fed first responders throughout our area during the storm, and there were no updates for building.
Kelly. Planning and Development Committee, Chair Best.
All right, Planning and Development Committee met on October 7th. We approved the September 9th minutes. The city applied for a $5,000 grant to produce a film that will promote the Dicey Children's Garden. Work on the Poinsett project is set to begin late October, early November. Additional funding was requested from the county so the project can be completed in its entirety. And then finally, Director Martin gave an update on the skate park and the renderings and early plans there.
Thank you, Brantley. All right, do you want to take care of our
Ways and Means Committee met on October the 7th and approved the September 9th minutes. Everyone received the September 2024 financial update. Does anyone have any questions about the financial report they received?
Thank you very much. Ordinances and resolutions for first reading. Reallocation of funds from general fund to capital fund. I believe that's you again, Brantley.
Yes, ma'am. I would like to make a motion to consider Resolution R-04-24 to reallocate funds from the general fund to capital fund for Poinsett Highway Street Improvement Project.
Heard that motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Lisa. All right, any further discussion or a summary? you'd like to
We'll
us?
give an overview.
Yeah,
So the
thank you.
Poinsett project represents a significant opportunity to improve the public amenities and drive economic growth within the city. These funds, which are available in the general fund, allow the city to complete the entire Poinsett project.
Any further discussion or comments? Again, this is first reading, so we'll have a second reading. Okay, all in favor?
Mayor,
Sorry.
it's a resolution, so there is
Oh,
not a
yes.
second
Oh,
reading.
thank you for clarification. All right,
It's just the one, correct?
Right.
Yep,
this is it then.
that's it.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, motion carries. Thank you for that. Old business, we have none. New business, we have our municipal court judge contract renewal that's up for approval.
I make a motion to consider a new 2-year term contract for our municipal court judge, Judge Hand. Do we have a second?
Second. Second from Brantley. All right, any further discussion?
I have a question. And I'm not so sure, maybe Greg can help me out with this. Is there stipulation in this current contract where if we have a situation with the judge that we can remove her immediately, her or him immediately? And the reason I ask this is, years ago, we had a situation with our judge that required an immediate removal. This person was, and you remember, Greg? Without going into a lot of detail, the gist of it was, this certain person was involved in a provocative type thing that was posted online, and we immediately removed her.
I think it's at will.
Is that provision still included in this contract? Not saying that this will happen,
Sure.
but it happened before, and, you know, we had to take action
question.
that day.
I wonder if there's anything in there that just says like, I don't know, standards of the city or any type of language. I assume it's at will and we could cancel at any time, but. All right, we'll give Shannon in a second to look at that. It's a good question.
So in reviewing the contract, specifically for that, there's not specific language in here, but council would have purview to examine a contract typically anytime. But that's a great question, and I'd be happy to look further into that.
Well, it was a very, very unusual situation. But unusual situations, as you well know, do occur from time to time. And I think it would be in our best benefit to have something, a stipulation in the contract that if something were, I mean, without having to go through a legal process, that where we retain that right to immediately remove them.
Wayne, do you remember last time, did it come before council? I want to say that it did. Did we talk about it at a council level?
I removed her.
I couldn't remember if it came before council or not. I think
Yeah,
that's what Shannon was
I
saying.
don't
Okay.
remember. When I removed her, it did not come before council, but
Okay.
at a later date, once we conferred with Robbie and that we were in the clear to do so, then I think then it came before
Okay.
council.
You just want to double
Mayor,
check on it?
excuse me, yes, I think if you wanted to hold this, we could have that language inserted and bring it back to you. That's an option, or if you feel comfortable.
I mean,
going
it's a minute thing, but that possibility always arises. And, you know, with this particular judge, I would have never, ever, ever, because he's a personal friend of mine, expected that. But it did, and it shed some pretty rough light on the city at the time. And so, at that particular time, either, you know, I had to.
There's a
and
couple of
I'm sure it
things.
was you still do. Do what, Greg?
There's a couple things here. So it says, work under this contract shall at all times be subject to review and examination by the city and shall be subject to its approval. And then on the same paragraph, the municipal court judge is expected to perform all duties according to the rules of and professional conduct of the American Bar Association and South Carolina Court.
So that would
That's
pretty
good.
much cover that, you think?
so.
I think so.
I mean, I think so. We can ask Robbie maybe.
Why don't we just, well, my suggestion would be to approve it, and then you just double check it on your end, Shannon. If anything changes, just let us know.
Absolutely.
All right,
Yep.
great, great.
Okay, I
Does
mean,
that feel good, Wayne?
I'm satisfied,
Okay.
if you guys are satisfied.
Yeah, that's a good reminder, past experience there. Okay, any other further discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries, thank you. ATAX Advisory Committee funding recommendations.
Oh, that's me. Let's see. Now I got a stack of papers
You
here.
busy tonight, Brantley?
Oh, let's see. All right. Somewhere in here, I'll make a motion. All right. I make a motion to consider the ATAX Committee project funding recommendations.
You've heard that motion, we have a second?
Second.
Second by Kelly, all right.
All right,
Any
any-
summary or note?
It's in the packet. I can read a list of the recommendations if you'd like.
So,
or-
let's see if anyone wants, is there any notes from you guys?
Yeah, like the Fall Fest Trail Mix, Leprechaun.
Yeah.
Yeah. All that good stuff.
Any notes from you, Shannon? All good on your end? Okay. Right. Any other further discussion? All in favor? Great, thank you. All right, miscellaneous matters. We have our administrative update.
Thank you, Mayor Amadon. We have a few things tonight. First off, we'd like to do a small presentation to you on the recovery efforts post-storm. So I'll invite Philip Tate up first to talk about Public Works. And while he's coming up, I'll have firefighter Chris Scott start setting up, and he's got a visual presentation for council tonight.
Thank you, Shannon. I just kind of want to update since the hurricane. We've completed, or the Public Works staff's completed an assessment of city infrastructure and property. We have no major damage, which, you know, we're very fortunate with what came through here. We didn't lose any equipment or damage any equipment, so I think that just reflects on the guys and the care that they take of the equipment, you know, through the police department, fire department, and Public Works, all three departments. Snyder Tree Care has performed an assessment on our trees in Trailblazer Park and on Main Street. We're currently awaiting a written summary back from them on their recommendations. We have approximately 10 trees on Main Street that will need to be replaced. And on a good note, some of these, if not all of them, will qualify for reimbursement through FEMA. Next week, we'll continue to remove debris on city-owned streets that homeowners have been, you know, pulling out to the street. We will work with our contractor in Greater Greenville to kind of, you know, get that cleaned up as quickly as we can. SCDOT will start their removal next week on state-maintained roads. They will start on the primary roads, then move to the secondary, and then to the roads in the subdivisions. And I'm not sure they have a timeline for completion on that. I did attend a couple of meetings with FEMA and South Carolina Emergency Management along with Greenville County Emergency Management to kind of get us on the reimbursement process, and it's a long process. There's a lot of documents that's going to have to be submitted, so we'll continue to work on that. FEMA did hold an applicant briefing on Monday of this past week, and there was a lot of good information that come out of that. Any of the work that we have done or we do within the first 90 days or the first 90 days after the hurricane will qualify for 100% reimbursement. But we got to have all of our ducks in a row, I's dotted and T's crossed on that. And as Administrator Herman mentioned, I've been working with Chris Scott and Nicole Brown on completing all the FEMA forms they're working on the fire department, police department side of that. So, thank you.
Thank you for everything that you've done. That's
Thank you.
remarkable.
Council, I'd just like to reiterate how professional and dedicated all of our staff members have been in working together. I've been very thankful to be a part of a team that has, you know, the capabilities and the skill sets in hand to really respond to this. I was speaking with Heisha Gamble, Assistant Administrator for Greenville County today, and she told me that I said, you know, the cost of readiness for a 50 to 100 year type event precludes us to be fully ready for it. And she said, no, Shannon, this is not a 50 to 100-year event. The rainfall was at a 500-year level. The wind speed is unprecedented, never recorded. So this was an unprecedented event, and we've had a very sophisticated response. I'd like to invite Chris Scott now to show you the 1, 2, 3 survey that we've been working on and the skill set that we've been developing in-house, not just for this event, but for future events, and that which can become predictive of aid needed in the future.
Firstly, I'd like to thank everyone at the fire department and the police department that has helped and responded to everything. Without them, none of this would be possible. There's a few key people that, have gone above and beyond to help with this as well. Captain Dan Kobler with the police department, Nicole Brown, Stephen Berkowitz with the fire department has helped with this as well. So I'd like to let it be known, without them, this wouldn't be here, so. So what we did after the storm on the 1st of October was we broke the city down into different zones, and we had teams go out that contained 1 firefighter and 1 cop together to go survey the city and assess damage and record it in the locations and what type of damage it was, and whether or not the homes were occupied or not occupied. So once they brought all that data back to me, I put it into this Excel sheet. Each zone has its independent report, and then I also combined them all into one. And the reason this spreadsheet is so important is because it allows us, once we have this, and Stefan was able to grab all of the GPS coordinates for these incident sites, and with that data, what I was able to do was import it into a GIS system and map the damage.
Right in my neighborhood.
Yes. So the different categories you can see over here on the left and what we had. And when we look at the map, we can kind of see the density of the problems. Most of the damage that we saw is what we created Zone 1 and Zone 2, which is going to be basically between Highway 25 and North Main Street, all the way down to the junction. There was a lot of trees down, a lot of power lines, a lot of houses that had trees on it. And we imagine a lot of that had to do with the old growth as well as the thickness of the tree density there. So what that allows us to do in the future mapping this is to know if we're having another large scale event, the areas that we need to make sure we go to check on them, make sure that we're clearing roads so we can get to them if they have an emergency. It also allows us to note areas that are prone to flooding. As you can see over here, this Hawk Valley Drive had an area where it was impassable with water. It quickly cleared though, but that is something that we'll know about in the future, our danger areas for the trucks and for residents if we have to close them down. Yeah, so I have an updated report. We went back out and checked the survey zones to see if there's any completion, if anything's been completely cleared or anything else. And I have not put that data in yet, but once I do, I'm going to update the map. And I'll have a separate spreadsheet for this so that we can track the progress of how fast it's progressing and how quickly we're clearing these things and things are getting checked. During that survey, I'd also like to notate that Captain Dan Kobler went out. We had a special assignment for him. The vulnerable residents in the city, he went around to each individual place and checked on them, and he put together this report notating how they were, and that was also October 1st that he did that. So.
Are there any questions from council?
I don't have any questions, but Chris, thank you so much for that. Shannon, you keep using the word sophisticated, and I think we have stepped up and seeing things like this, and this is just so smart, and the data behind it is just very professional, and it's also very comforting as a resident that our city is prepared and has these tools and super smart people. I really appreciate the vulnerable residents check. I think that's something that behind the scenes, be great to let residents know that now, but that was a big deal where everybody's kind of worried about their own self, but there's certain individuals that we do need to pay special attention to. So thank you for the thoughtfulness here, and also the data, I think, is really smart for whatever comes next, and we'll be prepared for it. So does
have
anybody
a
on
question.
council have any questions?
Yes, this is wonderful. For GIS, is this something that, because we're a city, we have access to free, or is this data that, software that we pay to participate in?
So this program is actually an open source program that's
Okay.
available for anyone to download and use. I'm a big fan of open source. Because the people working on it really care, and it's a great program. So no, we are not paying anything for this. There are paid versions out there, but this open source one does very well for the things that I've been using it for, so.
Wonderful, thanks.
Anyone else have any other questions?
I do. The creek that runs parallel to Poplar Street, it's been prone to flooding for years. How bad was that this year?
So I remember from the day of the incident that there was some flooding there, but when we did the survey, it had already cleared. So, but that's another one I still have to input the data for. That's going to require some more work because I'm still learning this program. So once I get that data and figure out a few things, how to do it in here, I'm going to update this map and have a day of incident that's going to show road closures blocked off and have a separate category for just that day, the
Well,
incident.
we've had
events.
problems with that and had to close the roads just on a heavy rainstorm.
Mhm.
And also, I had another question, and this is just for general, whoever can answer this. Has the possibility of a small tornado or a microburst in the area, the Williams Road, Taylor Road, Lorraine Drive area, has that been ruled out?
It said that we hadn't been
Well, if
from any source.
but if you'll look at the damage, what I'm saying, I mean, it fits that pattern.
Yeah. After this, I think anything could happen. Like, I wouldn't be shocked, I don't think. But, I mean, preparing
And-
for
and
it.
I'm
yeah.
just saying that could possibly help because, dude, I lost 7 trees, and it just hopped up and went right behind us, went down the street, took a left, and I mean, you could see the damage all along the way it went. And if that were a possibility, and the weather station at GSP could tell you that. And if that were possible, then it would help with the insurance. See what I'm saying?
It sounds like
Oh,
flooding was not our primary damage, it was the trees. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is
I mean, it was
interesting,
just, you could see the path. The path was pretty clear, the way that it happened. You know, like at the top of the hill there by Benji's house, there was a little bit, it went down the hill, like right behind my house, and then cut right over there on Thunderbird. It got Steve Sullivan, Ed Kelly, all them. Then it just went down by Zip's house and just, I mean, it was just like a path, you know?
I have one more question about the vulnerable residents. Is this vulnerability based upon, like, there was water and you couldn't get to them, or old age, or nursing home? What was considered vulnerable resident?
So that demographic is usually the elderly,
Okay.
either a home for 55 plus. It included the hospital, the nursing homes, independent living, and 55 plus communities. People that had special medical needs and things like that, or typically have special medical needs. So that's why we identified them to ensure that they were being cared for.
So like if somebody's 55 in a regular house, would they be identified?
We would have to be aware.
Okay.
He was on city council for 28 years.
I didn't think so. That's all I was just wondering.
That's
Okay.
That's why we target the
Yes.
we know about it. We would also include them.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Chris, I would add, that is an excellent question. So this is sort of more of the group settings that we know people are living in specifically to meet needs. But there is an opportunity through what Chris has done here to put together something like this, you know, in the future. It's a project to take on, so I'm not just volunteering them on the front end. I will tell you, I want to brag on Chris a little bit. I came into this job knowing one person at the City of Travelers Rest, and it was Chris. But it's only because my teams went out on New Year's or on Christmas Eve to rescue him. But he came in and he said, I'm on light duty and I have some computer skills. Is there something I can help you with? And so thank you, chiefs, for volunteering his time to me. And I said, what do you mean by computer skills? And he said, well, I'm kind of playing around with GIS a little bit. And I said, great. I really want to start bringing some mapping capabilities. So that was in March and April. And so he's really built this skill set, and it came in handy. As you can see, we're starting to be really intentional about our planning, and we can utilize these tools predictively as we go forward. We can layer them. So we start to have, several weather events, and obviously ice is probably our most typical weather event. We can begin to go, all right, what do we need to be doing ahead of time, ahead of these events on the roads? Where do we put our money on road improvement, or where do we put our requests out there? So it's nice to look at it, a map. He did a great job, by the way. Making
Yes.
maps is not as easy as this looks like. I cannot do this. But it's also going to become very valuable information for the collective of time. So thank you very much. Thank you, chiefs. And also to note that Deputy Chief McMakin also followed up on our vulnerable checks as well. So there was a fair amount of public presence out there. Would love to look into the opportunity to begin to note folks who want to be on a list to be checked on. There's the realities of what we can do in an event, when we can do it in an event. But this is a great example of what we can do with this type of capabilities. So
Berman has a GIS class, so if you ever want to intern, there's a whole class full of people who've been learning it.
Love that.
I was
Thank
gonna
you,
say, in
Chris.
3 years, I turned 55, and I'd be a little offended if I was like.
We're not targeting you, Lisa.
You want to be on a list.
But I think it'd be a great idea to work with the medical community to know, like, people who are on oxygen or all that would be awesome.
Mayor Amadon, if you don't mind, I do have a couple more.
please.
If there's no more questions.
Thank
out
you
of
so much,
this.
Chris.
Awesome.
This is
Thank you,
very,
Chris.
very nice. Thanks for presenting it to us as well.
I did want to note that we have elections here with us. Early voting begins on Monday. So from Monday through Saturday from 8:30 to 6, we will have early voting here in city chambers. We are allowing the use of our small conference room for this 2-week event, for a break room for the staff who are working the elections event. And I want to appreciate staff in advance of that, because we do recognize, the city's place in elections and civic orderly, but it is a lot to have folks coming in and out for 2 straight weeks. So we appreciate staff in advance of that. I also want to note a very exciting opportunity that's coming to Travelers Rest on November 23rd. We will be hosting the Indy Craft Parade. While it's very exciting for us, it's out of the tragedy of North Carolina. This is the Western North Carolina trade market for the Indy Craft. They're unable to host their event in their planned location, so we are not charging for the use of the park and hosting folks here. This is a great advantage to the artisans who have product to sell and who need to sell product. So we're going to help really push that out in hopes that these artisans are able to recoup some financial opportunities in their crafts. So that will be November 23rd. We expect about 2,000 people plus to be here at the park for that event.
Will there be space for parking, overflow parking? Because I've been to that before at the Expo Center, and it's pretty huge.
We will reach out to all of our partners who work with us on parking to make them aware of it and to request all of our opportunities ahead of us and be as prepared for that as possible.
Ben?
Anything else, Shannon?
That's it for me.
Okay. Does anybody on council have anything for the good of council? I don't think I have anything either. All right. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, second.
Second.
Yeah.
Thank you, appreciate it.
You're on it.